We stood at the edge of the crumbling concrete barrier, the rusted gate creaking slightly in the breeze. The air was thick, stale, with the distant scent of wet earth and decay. My flashlight barely cut through the darkness ahead, the thin beam flickering over twisted metal and cracked pavement. "I can't believe we made it in," I whispered, glancing at Michael beside me. His Geiger counter clicked softly, a steady, unnerving reminder of what surrounded us. "This place gives me the creeps," Michael muttered, his eyes darting toward the rusting remains of the Ferris wheel looming in the distance. The cold night pressed in on us, and our breaths curled in thin, ghostly trails in the chill air. "That's what makes it fun," I said, grinning despite the weight in my chest. We slipped through a gap in the gate, our footsteps crunching over shattered glass and brittle leaves. The amusement park stood like a corpse, frozen in time. Rusted bumper cars, half submerged in moss, sagging booths, and the skeletal frame of the Ferris wheel swaying gently in the breeze. "Shouldn't be here," Michael said, his hand tightening around the Geiger counter. The clicking was louder now. "Relax," I said. "No one's been here for decades." But as we moved deeper into the park, the air thickened. It wasn't just cold. It was heavy, oppressive. My flashlight stuttered, the beam narrowing and trembling. Then we saw it. The school building. Black windows stared back at us like empty eye sockets. Its front door hung loose on one hinge, creaking softly. "Let's go inside," I said, already stepping toward it. "Bad idea," Michael said. "It's unstable." I shot him a grin. "That's what makes it exciting." I pushed the door open, the rusted metal whining in protest. The inside was worse than I expected. Desks overturned, mold creeping up the walls, and paper scattered across the floor, yellowed and brittle. A faint smell of rot and old chalk lingered in the air. The Geiger counter clicked rapidly. "Alex!" Michael's voice was low. I stepped deeper inside. My flashlight flickered and then died. "Damn it!" Something skittered in the dark. "Michael?" I turned toward him. His flashlight shook slightly in his hand, illuminating the far corner of the room, where a shape stood. No, not stood. It floated. It was tall and thin, draped in tattered cloth that seemed to melt into the darkness. Its face was hidden beneath a cracked gas mask. Its chest rose and fell unnaturally, the sound like a wet, labored breath. "Michael! Run!" I shouted. He stumbled back toward the door as the thing lifted its head. A long, pale hand emerged from the cloak, the fingers unnaturally long and thin, tipped with blackened nails. I grabbed Michael's arm and yanked him toward the door. But he screamed. I turned. The hand was around his throat, lifting him off the ground. His flashlight fell to the floor and rolled, its beam spinning wildly across the room. "Michael!" I lunged forward, grabbing his arm, but the thing pulled him back into the darkness, his scream cut off with a wet crack. Then the door slammed shut, throwing me backward into the hall. Silence. My flashlight flickered back to life. The room was empty. No sign of Michael, no sign of the thing. I stood there, shaking, my breath ragged. The Geiger counter's clicking had stopped.